Welcome back to Becoming with Erica, a space where we heal out loud, grow through what tried to break us, and become everything we are meant to be. Today, we are living through a moment that future generations will read about in history books, or let's be honest, they'll probably read it whatever device replaces our phone. On June 12th, 2026, Elon Musk became the first trillionaire in human history following SpaceX historical IPO. Not a millionaire, not a billionaire, a trillionaire. Now, before you turn this episode off because you think this is all about money, stay with me because this episode isn't really about Elon Musk. It's about a man with a dream so big that most people thought it was impossible. For years, people laughed at electric cars replacing gas powered vehicles. People questioned reusable rockets. People called Mars a fantasy. People said internet from space sounded like science fiction. And honestly, some of those ideas sounded crazy. But that's the thing about vision. Vision usually sounds ridiculous before it becomes reality. What one person calls impossible, another person calls unavoidable. I love something Elon Musk once said about SpaceX. He said, the goal is to take the fiction out of science fiction. Think about that. The very thing people mocked became the thing that changed the world. And it wasn't because the road was easy. SpaceX experienced multiple rocket failures. The company nearly ran out of money. Musk later admitted there were moments when he believed SpaceX had less than a 10% chance of surviving. Where most people saw impossible, he saw unavoidable. And whether you love him, hate him, agree with him, or disagree with him, one thing is difficult to argue with. He stayed in the game long enough for the impossible to become possible. The dreamer inside all of us. You know what's interesting? When we're kids, dreaming is easy. Nobody has to teach a child how to dream. Kids dream naturally. They want to be astronauts, athletes, singers, inventors, business owners, authors. They believe they can do anything. Then life happens. Someone laughs. Someone says, be realistic. We fail. We get rejected. We get embarrassed. And slowly, we trade possibility for practicality. We start believing that practical is safer than hopeful. Somewhere along the way, we stop dreaming like children and start doubting like adults. And maybe that's the real tragedy. Not that dreams are impossible, but that we stop believing before they have time to grow. Maybe it's time we become kids again. And no, not childish, childlike, curious, hopeful, willing to believe, but stay in the game. Most people don't lose because they aren't talented. Most people don't lose because they aren't smart. Most people lose because they quit. They quit after the first failure, the first rejection, the first person who laughs, the first person or the first time nobody supports them, the first time results don't show up immediately. But what if success isn't about being smarter? What if success is simply staying in the game longer than everyone else? So let's play. Tag, you're it. I dare you to dream big. Because the difference between the person who made it and the person who didn't is often simple. One of them just kept going. Take this podcast, for example. The first time I even thought of this, that's all it was, just a thought. Then the first time I shared that thought was with someone who believed only rich people or famous people could start a podcast. I was told you need money, you need connections, you need experience. That dreams don't pay the bills. Well, tell that to everyone who turned a dream into reality. Because every reality was once somebody's dream. My own SpaceX. And I'll be honest with you, my podcast isn't SpaceX. My Monet business isn't SpaceX. The dream God has placed in my heart aren't billion-dollar companies, at least not today. But every dream starts exactly the same: small, awkward, messy, unknown. When I launched Becoming with Erika, nobody knew it existed. There were no thousands of listeners, no guarantee anyone would care, no proof it would work. Just a dream, a microphone, and a decision to start. The same is true in my business. The same is true in the life I'm building. And the same can be true for you. Every dream starts with one person willing to believe before there's evidence, before there's proof, before there's applause, before there's success. Somebody has to believe first. Why not you? Look at the bigger story. Today, the world is talking about the first trillionaire. But I keep wondering if that's actually the biggest story. Because Elon Musk has said many times that his real goal isn't money. His goal is helping humanity become a multi-planet species. He talks about Mars with more excitement than he talks about wealth. And honestly, I can respect that because maybe the bigger story isn't the $1 trillion. Maybe the bigger story is the reminder that impossible keeps becoming possible. Maybe the bigger story is that what happens when someone refuses to quit. And if impossible becomes possible for him, maybe the dream God placed in my heart isn't crazy after all. Maybe you're not behind. Maybe you're not unqualified. Maybe you're not too late. Maybe you're just early. And maybe your job right now isn't to figure out the entire path. Maybe your job is simply to stay in the game long enough to see what God can do with your obedience. Obedience. So I'll leave you with this. Tag, you're it. I dare you to keep dreaming big. I dare you to keep showing up. I dare you to stay in the game. And most importantly, keep becoming. Thank you for listening. Until the next episode, remember, you're not stuck. You're becoming. God bless.